Can be, and then we'll go to the Final Four and get it taken away. But it still
Damn
counts.
you.
Bobby Jackson's socks and Miles Tarver's mustache. We'll always have that.
Nice.
Big dogs are in the house!
Hey! The 84 jerseys out, man. I think this is going to be a fun ride.
Bye, Felicia.
Inside the lane, drive, left, fronted by Punch! Oh my goodness! Where did he come from? A behind the back jam by the big team! This is not Detroit, man! This is the Super Bowl!
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Practice like this? Up. We up.
Straight cash, homie.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Clarksville bullshit, so.
Home run! Welcome back, Lou Collins!
Welcome back to Thunderdome for another edition of Andy Must Die, Minnesota Sports Talk. Kinda. I'm your not-so-humble host, Andy Carlson. I'm on Twitter at Andy Carlson Show. Follow me because I'm awesome. And I'm riding shotgun with my partner in crime who sounds like she's getting coffee. A woman who has hair like a goddess and a mouth like a sailor. Di Murphy. Di, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I actually really enjoyed that description. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, no, was I right about the coffee?
No.
Damn it.
Sorry. I'm still recovering from this week-long cold, so I was muting myself so I didn't, hack up along on air.
I'm pretty good with sounds. Dang it. Di is on Twitter at Di Murphy MN. And how's your weekend? How was Valentine's Day / birthday?
I was sicker than a dog. It really sucked. I mean, it was cute because my family made me breakfast in bed, which was awesome. My husband made biscuits and gravy, which is my favorite. And then we went out to dinner. We went to Crave, and that was great. But, then we came home, and basically I just, died on the couch.
Now, your kids are relatively younger. They're not in the teenage years yet. When you go out to a nice place like that, do they order off the kids' menu, or are they ordering adult stuff? What?
Okay, so my almost 9-year-old, my mini-me, she still orders off the kid menu. My 12-and-a-half-year-old, who out-eats me, and most recently he can out-eat my husband.
Oh.
We have to order off the adult menu for him, and usually he finishes his meal, and then he looks at me like, "Are you going to finish that?" Because then he does.
I remember those days. Except your kid's actually going to be 6'4", and then I grew up to be 6'8" on a good day.
Yeah, no, they're both going to dwarf me. I mean, I'm not even 5'4". My husband is 6'2". His sister is 5'11". Everybody in his family is hugely tall. So yeah, they'll be getting crap down for me in the upper cabinets, in a couple of years.
Well, and plus you'll shrink due to the unavoidable osteoporosis.
Oh, thanks for pointing that out.
Well, if you get it in both legs, is it osteoporosis because it's 2?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, drink milk, Di. Joe Mauer, got to drink up your milk.
I don't like milk. I really don't.
Or get Bodiva, since you're on so many medications already. All right, so we've derailed. I got to ask you, did not see 50 Shades of Grey. A lot of women did. I don't know why, but we'll just skip over that. I'll tell you what I got. My wife got me a hat for Valentine's Day, and I was very excited about it.
Well, I always think hats are good, depending on the kind of hat.
Well, see, I'm not. I always say I'm not that big of a hat guy, but I'm kind of a hat guy because, let's see, I got a Vikings hat, Twins hat, North Stars, Gophers hat that I have in my rotation. I even got an Alabama hat for some reason. But I like the broken-in vintage look where it's like a slouch hat, It doesn't have that dome shape. It kind of fits it's like an older hat. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
Sure, there you go.
Is it like netting?
No, not like netting, but it's broken in, and if you just set it on a table, it'll crumple instead of just those form-shaped flat brim caps that the kids wear.
God, I hate those things. And then they leave the damn stickers on. Yep. It's what is up with that?
Stickers on. All right, so this hat that the wife got me is a wild hat, so I'm pretty excited about that. But it is closer to one of those flat brim fixed hats that the kids wear now, because it's got an oversized logo that is quasi bejazzled. And now I'm digging the hat, but I'm just a little worried that it might skew a little Ed Hardy douchebagginess.
Well, now you're going to have to tweet a picture because now I need to see it.
All right, fine. I'm actually wearing it backwards as we're recording, and I never wear a hat backwards, but I just want to see how it feels. And I feel like a douche.
And I'm not wearing a hat because, I just got my hair done. So I got my hair did.
Oh, yeah. Now, what does it look like? Speaking of tweeting pictures, you got someone out.
I will later. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Fine. Well, let's get into the show. The live stream is dead. We are now in all podcast everything because, stick what you're good at. I'm good at cranking out podcasts, and we can do it like that. Di is also not on any cold meds at the moment, or nighttime cold meds, even though that was pretty phenomenal.
Stop it.
Fine. Today/tonight on the show, young pup Timberwolves are rising. Some whining in the state dance tournament. Drama. Vegas weighs in on the Twins, and we debut a segment that will be kind of a mainstay on the show, Die Time. Now, we're going to have an awesome sound drop for that, except Nick was lazy. He didn't do it. I'm calling you out, Nick. Calling you out.
Way to go, Nick. Now I'm not going to join you for that burger.
Oh, I'm sure
he invited me out. He invited me out for a burger.
You got to do it.
Actually, he invited me out for a drink, and then he changed it to a burger. So props to him for that.
Well, burger's a gateway drug.
Nice.
We'll go non-sports related and talk about a miracle in Minneapolis, and that makes sense because there's very few miracles in Minneapolis outside of sport, or in sports, rather. And then our third and final segment, we'll look back on SNL 40 as well as cast Minnesota Sports, the movie. I'm pretty excited about that last segment because I got some good names. I don't know about you, Di.
I think I have better names, actually.
Fine. But first, let's hit it with some Minnesota sports news.
Minnesota sports news.
The NBA held their All-Star weekend over the weekend, and the Wolves, no Wolves in the big game, but still somehow managed to dominate. Andrew Wiggins won Rising Star MVP, putting up 22 double deuce as the international team beat the U.S. team. While they're introducing the squads, my wife was like, how come there's no Americans on the international team?
No way.
Well, I don't know, fine. And then Zach LaVine won the dunk contest over basically nobody because that was all garbage except for LaVine. Di, your thoughts on the Wolves Rooks representing?
I loved it. I mean, it was fantastic. I didn't watch it live. Well, actually, I watched the dunk contest live. I had to go back, and I didn't even watch the actual All-Star game. Mm-hmm. To me, I mean, who are we going to watch? I don't really give a crap about the rest of them. But I mean, I mostly watched just for LaVine because, I had gone to, had the Wolves put on like an exhibition thing over the summer, and I went with my friend at JB Hoops Fan from Twitter. And watching that kid live, it's like ridiculous what he can do. Like it's amazing. Like he brought back, like he breathed life into this. It's like, it wasn't gimmicky. It wasn't, it was just pure, I can slam that mother. You know what I mean? And it was beautiful. I loved it.
Well, that exhibition was the one where him and GR3 and Wiggins were having like their own dunk contest. Is that the thing? Right.
Because they did their drills or whatever, and then Flip actually let him just go at it, and it was amazing. I mean,
that's because the Flip had to go have his nap.
Well, he's gonna do what Flip does. So There you go.
And I do have to rank it up there with one of the best dunk contest performances ever because as a normal male teenager who liked basketball back in the day, I used to love the dunk contest. It's definitely fallen off lately because there's no stars in it. I mean, look at the field this year. LaVine aside, who's a rookie and we don't know who he's going to be, there are no stars. Victor Oladipo was garbage. And it's or the Greek guy, whoever his name is, wasn't that good. And then Mason Plumlee, a Plumlee brother in the dunk contest. That doesn't suit right, but
it's like what? Say what?
Back in my day, the stars were in the dunk contest.
Right.
Jordan, Dominique, Vince Carter. Vince Carter still has the best dunk contest of all time. But I'll put. Are you
saying like the 360 windmill that he did back in 2000? Because that was sick.
And then the one where he put his entire elbow in the hoop and then hung there. It's pretty simple. But then again, thinking about the physical physicality that it took to do that was nuts.
Okay, but you can't leave out Spud Webb.
I was just going to get to Spud Webb because he inspired 5'7" basketball players everywhere that you can achieve.
Is he really 5'7"? I mean, I think that's being a little generous. But like, how do you do that? Like, how do you not give him major cred for that? Because that's so much air that you got to get, you know?
Absolutely. And it really stinks because now LeBron is backtracking. Well, maybe I should have been in the dunk contest. Well, you should have done that a couple of years ago, LeBron, because Jordan only did it for like 3 years, I want to say. But it established his brand and helped grow the game, internationally. And we'll get to Jordan. He had his birthday this week. But yeah, the Stars got to do this. Even though I feel like Zach LaVine winning in such dominant fashion will kind of be a double-edged sword because all these superstars now, like the LeBrons, Russell Westbrooks of the world, won't want to be in the dunk contest now because they'll just get embarrassed.
Well, LaVine kind of called LeBron out. He said, I could beat him. So I would like to see that. Yeah. No, he's not wrong. No, he is definitely not wrong.
I had an idea of what they should do is that since the NBA stars don't want to be in the dunk contest, just go get a bunch of D-League guys or get a bunch of like the And One mixtape dudes that are just rocking YouTube with some highlight dunks. Put them in the dunk contest. Just make it a fun, open exhibition. Yeah,
but you know what? If they want to really draw a crowd, they're going to have to get some of the superstars involved. They're going to have to.
Offer more money. By the way, when Zach LaVine came out for his first dunk with the Space Jam theme, I died.
Oh my God, I died. I died like 10 times because I love that. I mean, I've shown that movie to my children more than once because, Space Jam.
No, it's a great movie. But what kind of made me feel a little old is that Space Jam came out a year after Zach LaVine was born in 1996.
Oh, okay, and that makes you feel old?
It does.
I just had a birthday.
Okay? No, it's okay. I mean, hey, I'm going to be a father, and sometimes I can tell if it's going to rain or snow or precipitate by the aching in my surgically repaired knee. I mean, that's what old people do, right?
You'd have to ask Ted.
Take a Boniva every morning, even though I'm pretty sure that's for women. But
I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't care. Carrying on with the NBA All-Star Game. Not really a game. The final score ended up being like 140 to like 140 or whatever. Except I always wonder why people don't care that games like this or the NHL All-Star Game or Major League Baseball All-Star Game aren't games. And everyone cares that the Pro Bowl is not actually football. Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, I think for the most part, athletes don't want to get injured. Like they don't, when you hold it during the regular season, then... Well, I mean, the NFL doesn't, but, there's a lot less impetus for athletes to participate. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the NBA with their, the skills competition and the dunk competition, and I think they, as far as I'm concerned, I think they do the best out of the major sports as far as, All-Star Weekend. Although I do still really love the home run contest in Major League Baseball. And the NHL and the NFL, they don't have squat.
But the NHL, I think I saw one where they shoot pucks at the plates and they try to break the plates.
Yawn.
So cool.
Meh.
But do you remember back in the day there used to be a quarterback challenge at the end of the season?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I looked this up. All right, I'm going to look it up now. Because it used to be like all the big names, Marino, Favre, Steve Young, and they go to like the Bahamas after the season and they compete in all these drills, and it was awesome. Except I think they had to cancel it in 2008 because Michael Vick was in one of them. And then he got indicted for federal dogfighting charges, and then it just kind of fizzled out. So, yeah.
But, I bet if they were to do it right now, there would be very few quarterbacks that would participate, which is a shame.
Yeah, these guys all have a little ego, offer them a free vacation under the Bahamas, kind of like to the Pro Bowl when it was in Hawaii. And I think the competitive fortitude will get it going. Hey,
I don't think you have to offer them a free vacation. I mean, like, seriously, these are multimillionaires.
I know they're multimillionaires, but free is free because that's why guys are so excited when the Pro Bowl is in Hawaii and not so much when it's at the Super Bowl location.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I'd go to Hawaii. I'd volunteer to go.
because all the families and hanger-on, they'd rather go to Hawaii, or the Big Island of Oahu rather than Glendale.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
All right, so moving on from Hawaiian temperatures, we got a little hockey action. Wild still making a push for the playoffs and have gotten 11 points. Points in 11 straight games. That's the ticket. Before falling in Vancouver 3-2 on Monday, sitting on 63 points, good enough for 10th in the West. By my math, only 8 teams make the playoffs from each conference. Do the Wild make the playoffs?
If they keep playing like they are, they will. I don't know if they'll go very far because, they still have issues. But, it's amazing what having a goaltender who can stand on his head and kind of Iron Man through he's seriously starting in how many games in a row has he started?
It's quite a few.
12? Is that somewhere in there? So, yeah, Dubnyk definitely gives them a chance to win, which, none of the other goalies really do. So...
Since I'm a self-admitted novice coming into this hockey thing, is it odd for a single goalie to start that many games, or what?
Yeah, I think it is. It's a very physically demanding position, and yeah, they're asking him to do a lot right now.
So even the great ones like Dominik Hasek, Nikolai Havebulin, and Patrick Roy, they would have a couple nights off during the season.
Yeah, you would have to just for to keep your body and and goalies are crazy, so mentally they kind of need a break too. But I think Dubnyk's basically said they're playing great in front of me, and so I'm going to keep playing, and they have nothing else. So
you didn't even give me any props on dropping a Nikolai Havebulin reference.
Well, that was nice, but you did pronounce Roy's name.
No, it's Roy. It's Roy. That's BS. He ain't Canadian.
He ain't Canadian.
I saw that mofo in Rockford, Illinois. He's from Rockford, Illinois.
I hate that guy. I'm just saying. Hate him.
Yeah,
hated him as a player. Hate him as a coach. Hate him as a human being.
Have you seen the movie Goon?
Yes. Actually, I did.
All right, so people haven't seen it. Go out and see it. It's a hockey movie starring Minnesota's own Sean William Scott. It's sneaky funny. And in it, the goaltender, pretty sure is French-Canadian, and he's like, I only got 2 questions. 2 things. Don't touch my Percocet, and do you have any Percocet?
Yep, pretty much.
Goalies are a little out there.
Hey, you forgot to ask me about you had asked me to compare a Wolves player to a Vikings player. You forgot about that.
Oh, excuse me. All right, so since I'm a novice coming in, and I'm just warming back up to basketball, it seems like a good time to buy low in Timberwolves stock. I asked Di to compare a Wolves player to a Vikings player to me, and also a Wild player to a Viking. So what do you got for me, Di?
All right, so Andrew Wiggins is the Teddy Bridgewater of the Timberwolves. Why? Skill, leadership, poise, and he has ice running through his veins.
I was going to say smile, too.
Oh, and a big smile. You got that right.
Except Wiggins needs to get a nice little sponsorship with Northwest Orthodontics because he's got a great smile, a little crooked.
He's going to get a big paycheck. He can get that worked out.
All right, now what about Wild player?
This is I really struggled with this, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, that's the answer. Jason Zucker is the Kyle Rudolph of the Wild. Why? Hashtag injury prone.
I was going to say a big white ginger who can't stay healthy, and Christian Ponder almost ruined.
Well, you could go with that too. That would work.
And you know what I learned? I learned that people don't like Vanek, so I was going to compare Vanek to A.J. Jefferson.
Well, nice. I went, my initial reaction was to go Vanek, and I'm like, and so I was looking at I'm like, Matt Khalil, Cordell Patterson, where's but no, I think the Zucker-Rudolph comparison was spot on. I'm dropping the mic.
All right, and I'll pick the mic back up and move into some Vikings news as the Adrian Peterson drama continues a little bit. Still waiting on the ruling from Judge Dottie if Adrian's suspension is going to be overturned or not. Spielman said on the Combine, quote, "We expect Adrian Peterson to be part of our football team," end quote, sticking with the whole unified front company line that ownership, Zimmer, Spielman have been towing out there. I still think it might be all part of a facade to keep up trade value, or it might be what they're really thinking. And at his press conference, he dropped a little nugget saying, "Time heals all things." So he's either really selling it or he's really buying what he's putting out there. Di, what do you think?
I'm just really so over this. I mean, I understand that it has to be dealt with, but I'm just so tired of it. It's like, to me, I feel like he should get another shot. I mean, if you look at what the punishment that he received versus, Ray Rice, for instance, I mean, it's basically the NFL figured out that they really screwed up, and then they were going to give him like the harshest punishment because they screwed up. Still, what he did was horrific, and I don't even know that he really gets the seriousness of what he did. And so, I think they'll let him back in. I mean, I think they'll let him play next year. I just really don't feel him in purple.
Now, I've been through the emotional gauntlet a little bit with this whole Adrian thing, because initially when it happened, I would have been fine if the Vikings absolutely cut bait with him right there, because like you said, what he did was horrific, and it's hard to compare it to the Aaron Hernandez situation because that's murder, and then this is kind of a gray area as far as parental discipline, depending on what area of the country you're in. And no,
stop for a second. I mean, there's no gray area there.
Well,
that's child abuse.
That's your opinion, but I understand that in the Southern that's more accepted, but even they found out that it was too far to press charges. And I'm on the boat with you. That is way too far. But then all of the rubes who just want Adrian on their team but can't just say they want Adrian on the football team came out, well, that's how they raise kids in the South, and Adrian doesn't know any better.
Well, great. You know what? When I was a kid, we didn't use car seats. We didn't use bike helmets. We didn't do a lot of things.
And you could smoke on airplanes. That was a better time, Di.
It's like, shit changes. I'm sorry. You have to get with it. And, in my job, I am federally mandated to report child abuse. That's a requirement. And had I seen some of those injuries on that child, absolutely I would have turned him in. And if anywhere else in this country that they wouldn't have turned him in for that, I mean, that's just sick.
Yep. And so I believe I was perfectly fine for them sitting him down for Adrian. I believe he deserved a year. By hook or by crook, they got it. But this whole non-reinstatement until April 15th just seems so arbitrary and stupid. So I hope he wins his appeal there. And for now, for me, anyways, this is simply a football decision because he deserved his punishment, got his punishment, and I'm fine if they take that $4.1 million from him and then they just keep that locked up. That's fine. But like you, I believe he does deserve a second chance. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be here because of football reasons, because of his age, because of his contract, because of his cap number, and because of we can only take a $2.5 million cap hit if he's traded or released. So it's kind of funny. I keep reiterating that's going to be a football decision now, but a bunch of the people on Twitter who were criticizing me and Ted and you as well, saying that he should be cut right away. And if he ends up being on the team, they'll be like, "Oh, in your face," and then I'll be like, "It ended up being a football decision," and they could fit him under the cap. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Right, and the thing is, I mean, I know that Spielman and Zimmer have come out and said that they want him on their team. I haven't heard a lot from the Wilfs. And I think...
Well, we heard from Mark Wilf.
Well...
We didn't hear from Mustache, though.
I just feel like they're just... I mean, I think they let Goodell do their dirty work. Like, they wanted hands off on this. And that's kind of crappy. I'm sorry. You have to take a stand when you're an owner. You really do. And I feel like they've just kind of let the chips fall where they may.
And for me, if Adrian does end up being on the Vikings, in the back of my mind, he'll always be a child abuser who did get a punishment. He did do his time, quote unquote, as it were, for the deed. And if he can help the Vikings win, that's fine. If he can help the Vikings win by trading him off to Dallas, when Jerry gives us 2 number 1s and a number 4 and a couple million gallons of oil, okay, I'll take that too.
Yeah, the oil would be a nice touch.
Yep. Either way, the team always comes before other stuff, and I don't know. I'm tired about all the off the field stuff, even though all right. So I explained this to Chris Gates when I had him on Pro for the Win, but the thing that annoyed me through this entire process was people who would absolutely reach for excuses for Adrian just because they want him on the football team, and they didn't have the guts just to come out and say, I want Adrian back because he helps the Vikings win on football team. And they were like bringing out stuff like, well, that's how he's raised in the South, or, oh, the Pope says that it's okay to spank your kid. Well, what if Adrian's not Catholic?
Well, and the thing is, it's football. Mm. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm a diehard fan, and you'd be hard pressed to find someone that is more into it than I am. But it's football. It's just freaking game. Okay, this is a kid's life. And this is a parent who is clearly gone off the deep end as far as punishment. And yes, he served his time, and I'm all for recognizing that, but people who want to make excuses for him just because he makes the Vikings better. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's sick.
No, absolutely. Don't make excuses. Just say you want him back because it makes the team better. That's it.
Right. Don't make excuses. I mean, what he did was horrific, and if he acknowledges that and he never does it again, and he's served his punishment, and he's become a better parent for it, great. As long as that's actually the case, then he's done what he needed to do, and this won't happen to another child.
Yep, I agree. Moving on to a lighter subject, somehow. In the state 3A dance competition at the Tarjay Center this weekend, there was some drama. And the Faribault Emeralds, Faribault, same thing. Emeralds easily won the 3A state title, but when it was awards time, the other 5 3A teams shifted to the other side of the Target Center floor in protest that Faribault had plagiarized the routine from some random school in Utah. And the other 5 schools were Eden Prairie, Wayzata, Eastview, Chaska, and Lakeville South. They were eventually DQ'd for unsportsmanlike conduct. There's no second through 5th place finisher in 3A this year. Now, the routine was cleared beforehand by the Minnesota State High School League dance body, said that it was completely kosher, there was no plagiarism. And in fact, in the rule book, there is no rule against plagiarism, only a team cannot have out-of-state choreographers die. What do you think?
I mean, I applaud teams for standing up for what they feel very strongly about, but this whole thing just reeks of we lost and poor sportsmanship, because it was already reviewed the week before by the Minnesota State High School League, and they ruled that they weren't in any violation of any rules. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I thought it was kind of crappy. Now, I think what's come out, through this is that the rules are antiquated, and they really need to update them for the current times. So for me, and I watched, they had the YouTube video of the Utah team and the Faribault team side by side. And yeah, I mean, their costumes were very similar. Their routine was very similar. I mean, it looked plagiarized to me, but I mean, I don't know the rules. So, I'm not a governing body. The governing body said they didn't violate any rules. So, I mean, they win.
By the letter of the law, as the rule reads, they could have plagiarized, copied the entire routine from start to finish, and it would have been fine. But these other schools, who we assume were the ones who tipped off the Minnesota State High School League about the routine in the first place, are just so butthurt that this Faribault team is so dominant that even though they're not technically breaking any rules, they got to complain, and then they have a protest.
And this is going to sound really judgy, but that's what we're here for. I mean, so what? Eden Prairie, or some of the other, Lakeville South,
Wayzata, Eastview, and Chaska.
Right. So these are districts that are used to winning. Mm-hmm. right? I mean, they're used to bringing championships home. So there's a little bit of, bitterness there, I think, that this Faribault team, displaced them or whatever.
Apparently there is a lot of beef between Faribault and these city teams as well. And full disclosure, I have a little insider take because my sister-in-law is actually coach of the Austin Packer dance team, which is a 2A school. And I've actually had the pleasure of going to some of these dance meets when the wife wanted to go. And the wife actually saw Faribault live a couple weeks ago, and they're nuts. Like, they are freaking amazing. And from the state scores, it wasn't even close. They smoked the other 5.
Well, and this is going to sound, again, judgy, but it's Faribault. What else do they have? I mean, give them this. All right?
They had Mr. Basketball once. Who was that?
Just give them this, because apparently this is their thing. And they didn't violate any rules. So the fact that, these other teams are pissy about it is, I like I said, I applaud the unity. Like, you want to, send a message or whatever, but it's the wrong message because you already appealed. Like, you already, well, we're assuming, brought this to the attention of the Minnesota State High School League, and they basically said, no, they're fine. They can compete. And then you do this.
How did they find the Utah video, by the way? I wonder who went out and found that. Quay Bono, who benefits it? I got one great quote from you from an awesome article by Rachel Slavic, who's been doing some great stuff on this whole drama over on WCCO. She's quoting John Malaya of the Minnesota State High School League here. And he said during an interview with WCCO Radio, quote, "This isn't what we teach our kids about sportsmanship and competition. It's a ridiculous spectacle is what it was. What they did was totally wrong. That's not sportsmanship. That's not fair to the girls on those 5 teams. This is all orchestrated in advance by the coaches of those 5 teams before the award ceremony. They knew what they were going to do. I heard from an administrator at a school not involved in this today. This told me today, if my dance coach did that, I'd have an opening for a new dance coach tomorrow," end quote. And I was thinking about this. If I was an AD at a school, I would, of these 5 schools, I would seriously consider moving on because they have brought embarrassment to my school nationally, because this has been on some of the national news shows. It's been on Deadspin, which is a huge national and international website. This is a bad look, and it's because these 5 coaches decided to be a little catty. I hate to use that term because it is a girls' sport, but that's what it is. Catty, petty, small-mindedness, and they embarrass my school.
Well, and I wonder, how much the parents were involved.
Oh, yeah.
Because, here's the thing. I mean, I had my daughter who's, not even quite 9. We had her in dance from the time she was 3. So from 3 to, 6, she was in dance. And I'm telling you, it is a whole nother, like, crazy, ridiculous, crazy parents. Like, they wanted me to put makeup on my, my 4-year-old and, do this and do her hair this way. And it's like, she's 4. Okay. I'm not putting makeup on my 4-year-old.
Dance mom's bit crazy.
Oh my God. Seriously. And so you can't tell me that there wasn't some, and I don't know how much was coach and how much was parental, involvement, but I'm thinking it's both. There's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. You got to think coaches were involved and orchestrated the whole moving over thing, but yeah, you could tell that parents were involved too, because it said in a couple of the articles that the only people cheering or applauding during the award ceremony were the Faribault parents. So you got to think the parents of the other 5 schools were, cross arm and we'll show them. I'm surprised they didn't pull we'll turn our back to them because that will show them. Huh.
Well, I was kind of surprised by that too, because when I first heard about it before I saw the video, I kind of thought that would be the case, which would be, an additional, kick in the teeth or whatever. But I the real victims in all of this are all the girls, because
absolutely
the Faribault girls, won it fair and square according to the rules, dominated, right? And so they didn't get the applause and whatever that they should have gotten for being that good. And then all these other girls that didn't get their medals because their coaches / and or parents, both probably, decided that they shouldn't participate.
Yeah,
And
because what if you're one of those girls in that teams who actually have a rational take on this, believe that fair ball won fair and square, and you want to line up and you want to get your second or third place medal, and then you're kowtowed and bullied, for lack of a better word, by your teammates and by your coach to be like, no, we got to do this together. You can't be out standing there by yourself. You're moving.
right, and that's, I mean, and that's huge at that age, especially.
Yeah. And plus, even worse than that, it was pointed out in an article that Faribault coach said the other teams gathered and screamed outside of their dressing room, per a Strib article by Howard Sinker.
We love Howard.
Howard. Yeah, but that, speaking of bullying, that is more disgraceful than the very public display of sliding over, if this is true.
Well, that would be correct. I mean, and I have no way of knowing. I haven't read it, so I have no idea. But that's a little bit different. I mean, if you want to make a public stand and say no, we don't agree with this, that's speaking your mind.
Yep.
It's not bullying, unless, like you said, there are girls who really felt like, you know what, they were better, and there had to have been girls that realized that they were better. And the adults and the, more influential girls probably bullied them into just going along because this is what we're doing. We're united. We're us against them.
Adults and coaches who think every day is the Super Bowl, ruining things again.
Absolutely.
Seems to be a theme for our shows lately.
Definitely.
A couple of random things. I was very surprised. Did you know that dance is the biggest revenue sports for girls in high school in Minnesota?
Am I surprised?
Yeah.
No.
I'm a little shocked, even because girls hockey is pretty big. Women's basketball. I was kind of shocked.
Having had a taste of it, when my daughter was much younger. No, I'm not surprised. I mean, it is a huge undertaking. Even my 3 and 4-year-old, the routines and the costumes, and it's big money. So, and everybody turns out, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, at these meets there are a ton of people, packed to the rafters, and merchandise sales, and it's going to be nuts. And I have to absorb this a little bit because, like I said, my sister-in-law coaches the Austin dance team. My father-in-law is a huge supporter. He'll even go and cheer on my sister-in-law's team. And my wife and I are having a little girl, and I can already tell that she's going to be a huge dancer by the way she kicks in there. And plus, she's going to have my genes. So I mean, come on. So I'm going to have to be indoctrinated into this 5, 6, 7, 8 world.
Yeah, for me it was, I wanted. And I'm not judging. I'm really not, because it's a sport as far as I'm concerned. It really is. But there's a whole level of sexualization of girls in this. I mean, the costumes that they wear, the makeup that they wear, they look so much older than they are. And that really bothered me. I mean, I didn't want that for my daughter. And I'm not, everyone's free to make their own decisions, and I'm not judging, but that, for me, that's not what I wanted for my daughter.
I did feel a little out of place the couple of meets I did go to as an adult male whose daughter was not in the competition, just showing up for whatevs, observing, watching.
Yeah, I can see that. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, about that. All right, so remember, kids, the lesson of all this, it's not whether you win or lose, but if you lose, accuse the other team of cheating. I can't wait to see what this is going to be like next year, especially if those coaches are still in place. If I'm the Minnesota State High School League, I'm going to put the hammer down. This ain't happening again.
They need to change the rules. I mean, and so the coaches who were protesting have a point that the rules are antiquated and they need to be changed. But to do what they did so publicly and, cheat their own girls out of their medals and, basically crap on the win for the team that clearly was the better team, there was a better way to do that.
Speaking of a better way, Di just sent me a DM asking, when are we taking a break? I gotta go use the little girl's room.
Nice, thank you.
Fine. We'll be back with a little Di time in our second segment, and she'll give you the hottest hot take of all. That's a tease. BRB, Andy Must Die. Purple for the Win podcast is your one-stop shop for the team you hate that you love. That's right, dedicated to the pain and pleasure that is the Minnesota Vikings. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube for our weekly and bi-weekly mediocrity. And, of course, there's always purpleftw.com. Because, you know, aside from nipple clamps and chains and whips, cheering for the Purple People Eaters is probably the most pleasurable pain you can experience on this planet. So come on in for the mediocre analysis and the more mediocre humor. PurpleFTW.com. That's right, PurpleFTW.com.
Straight cash, homie.
Coming back for the second period, second quarter, same thing. Andy Must Die, and off air we were just talking about my bathroom humor, because the former incarnation of the show, Claire versus Carlson, Claire and I would have a lot of bathroom banter, during which she would usually take her laptop into the bathroom and relieve herself. Die is too classy for that.
Way
what?
Way too classy.
Like which way?
Just way.
All right, fine. And speaking of the way, Di is going to have her way at the top of segment 2. And we got a little Di time. And I wanted to have this for Di just to set aside a little time for her just to rant and speak her mind, and the rest will follow. So Di time this week. What do you got?
We are going to discuss the phenomenon that is the Fox Sports North girls / cheerleaders / ice girls.
I like where this is headed. Proceed.
Yes. Okay. So one of my biggest problems is the fact that, you know, about 45% of NFL fans are female. Mm-hmm. About 46% of Major League Baseball fans are female.
Yep.
About 46% of NBA fans are female. And about 40% of NHL fans are female. Yet we have the likes of Ice Girls, the Fox Sports North girls. We still have scantily clad cheerleaders. It's just stop. I mean, when are they going to realize that it's not an old boys club anymore? Right?
Do you think that they're there to balance it out a little bit? Because
balance what out?
The exubering of, well, because we all know that sex sells, right? And what percentage of those female viewers are watching because they find the players attractive, do you think?
If you compare, no. I mean, I think it's very little. Seriously.
Really?
I really do. I honestly do. I mean, have you seen an offensive lineman in white pants?
That's why I don't watch the Vikings around the road. I always listen to PA.
No, not sexy.
Phil Loadholt in Miami,
gross.
Sweating.
No, awful.
Well,
I saw him like he stood next to me. Like was like, no. Because men and women are different. That's a, newsflash, I'm sure. Men tend to sexualize everything. I think women don't as much. I'm not saying that they don't. I just think they don't as much. And it's insulting to intelligent women who watch sports to see those women basically, parading their goods around. I mean, I don't want to see that. I mean, if you're going to have Fox Sports North girls scantily clad or like standing there clueless, then where's the female equivalent? I mean, for women, where's the male equivalent? Where's the the super hot guy and then super tight shirt?
Where's
tight
the
jeans?
Ryan Lochte on Fox Sports North?
Oh, but you know what? He is dumb. He would be a great Fox Sports North guy. Maybe we can hire him for that.
Have you ever watched the show 30 Rock?
No.
There was an episode on there where Ryan Lochte played himself, and he actually played the role of sex idiot.
Well, that would. I bet he nailed it.
Not disclaimer. I'm not saying that the Fox Sports girls are sex idiots, but I feel like, and I'm trying not to be misogynistic at all because that's not really who I am. But yeah, I think they might be trying to have them on there as they're trying to extend to all parts of the demographics. Because do you think there's some demographic of young females that will identify with that? Because they do get to do fun things, go to all the games, wear cute apparel, and it's probably appealing to a certain segment of the female fans.
You know what? I hope to God not, because they don't contribute anything. There's no intelligent insight. They don't ask their opinion. For Christ's sake, they don't even give them a last name. I mean,
because I've been trying to find out their last name for years.
Well, and having dealt with like a certain percentage of the creeper population on Twitter, I can maybe understand why they don't use their last names, maybe.
Well, they need to bring Kaylin back. I mean, what?
No.
Not that. Okay, fine.
The only one who has ever done anything to come out of the Fox Sports North stable is Jenny. I mean, she actually used that to get herself, on Fox Sports 1, I think is Fox Sports 1 is the channel. So she's actually doing stuff on there and actually, giving her opinion and being a broadcaster versus standing there and modeling the latest FSN North gear or, hanging out with the bros that show up for different games to, hang out with them.
Well, it does seem like every little subset of the Fox Sports Network has, their own little girls like, Fox Sports South girls, etc. And like I said with Jenny, she did parlay it into a higher up, actually more journalistic spot, and that could actually be a gateway for some of these women trying to break into the industry. But
as long as they actually inspire, or that's what they aspire to. Because I mean, clearly she was an athlete. She, she knew. I think she could talk. She could speak intelligently about different topics in sports. Most of these girls, we would have no idea, because nobody ever asked them. They just show up and smile in their tight T-shirts and their, super, blow-dried hair, and it's very bothersome to me.
I still think there is some prejudice against women in the boys' club, sports media world, as you have. Like we saw this fall when the great Pam Oliver is being replaced by Erin Andrews. Now, Erin Andrews, in my opinion, does good work, except a lot of people rail against her because she's just a very attractive blonde holding a microphone. And do you think it's going to be a part like that where eventually all sports reporting will just be good looks, good hairdos, and no real brains behind it?
Well, I mean, if you're a woman, that's where it is right now.
Yep.
I mean, and not so for men. I mean, if you take a look at...
Well, I think some of those new anchors on SportsCenter, man, I mean, come on, haircut.
I would agree. There are some, but it's not to the degree that the women have to deal with. And, I don't particularly care for Erin Andrews. I don't think she brings a whole lot. If you take, and I know she's taken a lot of crap, but, if you look at Sam Ponder's work in college football, she actually is very good. And Pam Oliver, she's taken some crap too. I mean, she's beautiful, but she's, I mean, look at the longitude of her career.
Pam Oliver's so good.
Love her. But for me, the pinnacle is Michelle Tafoya. I mean, she is classy and, I mean, but you don't have women in, calling plays. You don't see women in the booth. They're always on the sidelines. And that needs to change because, wake up. Almost half of your audience or fans are women, and they want to be represented. And for for stations to discount them and not bring them on like as full partners in the booth is disturbing.
Mm. Heck, because do you remember early on the Viking season, there was that MMA dude who was just so terrible at his job, and then he was supposed to do the Vikings game the next week. I really forget his name, whatever it was. But there was some talk that Pam Oliver was going to replace that guy in the booth and actually do play-by-play, since this was her last season at Fox. Ended up being Tim Brando, but how awesome would have been? Pam Oliver calling a Vikings game.
I'd have loved it. And quite frankly, Michelle Tafoya has done college basketball games. Mm-hmm. She's legit. And the fact that she's the best of the best and she's still not being given the respect that she deserves. Mm-hmm. I mean, what does that say for the young women coming up, now?
Yeah, I agree. And as far as the FSN girls are equivalent to that, and if they do set a bad example, I think we're very fortunate up here in Minnesota that there are a ton of very good examples of females in sports journalism. Strong women like a Jamie Hirsch, a Marnie, Ali Lucia, WCCO. So I feel like there is a little counterbalance there.
Well, on air, in print, there's Rachel Blount, who writes for the Star Tribune. She's amazing. I had the honor of talking on a panel about gender in sports up at the College of St. Benedict last week, and she was one of the panelists. And, she's fantastic. I mean, the stuff that they've had to deal with, like she's had to deal with, is crazy. Men would never have to deal with that. And when I say we, the royal we, it's like, as women, we have to know our stuff 100 times more than men do, because the second that I put something out on Twitter or I say something that's remotely that goes against the grain, I have 10 DMs telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, or tweets telling me that I'm a woman and what do I know? And that's crazy. Men never have to deal with that. Like, if you're a guy, you automatically know sports. And if you're a woman, you don't.
And case in point, I don't know jack, but I still get to have a podcast that has a bunch of listeners.
There you go.
Dun, 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 dun.
Case in point.
Dirt off the shoulder. No, but levity aside, I do understand what you're saying. And it is kind of unfortunate because I can think of a dozen women off the top of my head that I know in real life and on Twitter that absolutely know their sports cold and probably don't get taken as seriously just because they're women, and that's really unfortunate.
It is. And it's a disservice to men too. I mean, when I take a look at if we just look at the Twin Cities, sports talk radio, there are no women on. There's none. And it's a disservice to men because I quite frankly think that there's a lot of men who, I have tons of followers on Twitter who are male who, respect my opinion. Whether they agree or disagree, they still respect the fact that they know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. They respect that I do. And I think there should be a woman on local spots, sports talk radio, because we make up almost half, the fan base. And
it's kind of weird. It goes back to the impetus of when I started the Claire vs. Carlson show with Claire. Actually, it was her idea. I just kind of ran with the ball. But I was considering doing a joint project like this where it's a two-person sports show, and I was thinking I would much rather have a female perspective because one, it's very underrepresented. Two, I didn't want to have a show that's like every other dog and pony show out there where it's all frat bros, sup bro, that kind of show. And frankly, I feel like I converse better with women. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, quite frankly,
how you doing?
Nice. When I look at the people that I talk sports with, inevitably it's all men, and because I'm very comfortable with that. That's been my thing since high school. I mean, I used to do like twin stats with a bunch of guys in high school, and they would quiz me on stuff, and so there's nothing wrong with that. I just I gravitate toward men just as friends just because what my interests are. I love cooking and I'm very girly, but I love sports. Like, that's a big chunk of my life. And so I literally have one or two female friends / acquaintances who love sports. The rest of them don't give a crap.
Although the Bro show would be pretty entertaining.
No, it really wouldn't. That's what you get on. You get that on the 9 to noon or I don't even know, the whatever, the K-Fan. What's their early morning?
Oh, Power Trip?
Yeah, that's basically a live, frat show. Bro. What's up, bro? I can do that, right? What's up, bro?
I want to get psychologically evaluated, well, for a number of reasons, and figure out why I seem to converse better with women. Because, I get along fine with men. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I can talk the wallpaper off of anybody, but it just seems like I'm more comfortable conversing with women. And yeah, that definitely was a benefit in college. Heyo, but I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with me.
No, I think that's great.
I was in a frat.
But I mean, yeah, let's just be honest. You have a lot of the, 12-year-old humor thing, but you're male.
Oh,
that's just inevitable.
Oh, by the way, my frat was a co-ed business fraternity.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's not like a what's up, bro? It's social frat. Know what I mean?
I do. I went to a couple of frat parties when I spent one whole semester at UW-Madison.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Just a couple.
Oh, well, please tell me the semester was during Halloween at least.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I went as an angel.
Oh, so apparently it was opposites. That was the theme of that Halloween.
I knew you were going to say that.
There you go.
It was a big softball for you, Andy.
All right, so just wrapping up die time. Any parting thoughts?
I really hope that the landscape changes. I hope that we see more women of substance. I mean, if you turn on, you flip on ESPN, there's so many, blonde bimbos. And I'm sorry, but, a lot of them are. It's like, that's all you see. You flip the channel, it's like, at any time, that's what you see. And I hope at some point that, the next generation maybe realizes that you don't have to be blonde and super pretty. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, being blonde and super pretty and knowing your stuff, great. I mean, you don't have to be hideous looking and know your stuff. You can be very feminine and pretty as long as you know what you're talking about. Don't just be like, I don't know, they're just so cardboard.
Devil's avocado on that. Do you think that can be some sort of reverse backlash against blonde, good-looking women who actually do know their sports, but people automatically assume that they're only on TV because of their looks, not because of their credentials?
Well, and I think there's some truth to that, basically based on what ESPN churns out. And I feel bad for those women because there's nothing wrong with being pretty and blonde or pretty in whatever hair color you have and knowing your sports. They're not mutually exclusive. But just because you're blonde and pretty doesn't mean that you actually know what you're talking about. So I do feel bad for those women that actually are both.
Like a Sam Ponder, like you said, even though she blocked me on Twitter. And then off the top of my head, I think Michelle Beadle, Jen Brown fits in that category as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And Michelle Beadle's like hilarious. I mean, I follow her on Twitter. Oh my God, she's so funny. Yeah. And she's beautiful. I mean, so my whole thing isn't like you can't have attractive women talking sports. I want knowledgeable women talking sports. If you happen to be attractive, great. I want the knowledgeable piece to come first.
There you go. Now, breathing a sigh of relief, we talked about our first kind of quasi-controversial subject. We want to talk about next: abortion, gun control, immigration, Obamacare.
What you got?
I got Twins pitchers and catchers reporting on Sunday, 22nd, which is controversial in its own right.
I know.
Come on.
I wish I could care.
Vegas over-under for Twins wins this season is 70.5. Over-under, what you got, Di?
Well, my inner pessimist would say under, but from everything that I've been reading and everything that all of the pundits have been putting out there and trying to get me to buy in, I would say over.
This is going to be the year, Di. All the young talent is coming together, and they're going to apex.
So, Buxton?
Yes.
Like,
So no. Yes.
he's going to start.
Yes. Well, probably not out of camp.
See, that's what I...
July-ish.
Well, that's... Well, yeah. I don't know. So I played softball. And so the Twins were like, for a long time, my number one team. Like, I breathed and ate, and I mean, that was everything. And
You ate the Twins, all right.
well, stop it. I'm just saying it was everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the last couple of years have just really beaten it out of me. Like, I right now don't care. And that's an awful feeling, but I really just don't care.
Only 5 years ago, we had 94 wins and then lost in the ALDS to the Yankees.
Well, and because the Yankees own us, and they always have.
The Yankees are my daddy. Nice. Do you like my Pedro Martinez impression?
That was lovely.
It was pretty good. But that was 2010. That was a long time ago. That was back when Morneau was unconcussed. Mauer had a lateral strength, and Cuddy was, here. So,
right.
As it were.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And for reference on the 7.5, last year we were exactly at 70, and then 66, and 63 the three previous. So history says probably under, but I'm going to go over just for the LOLs. Even though a lot of
How much over?
71.
Way to stick your neck out there, Andy.
Pink. A lot of publications do have the Twins picked to finish like dead last. Not only the division, but probably all of baseball. But we'll see. I still stand that the Phillies are going to be worse, but I guess we'll see. And also the Globe's Nick Cafferado, sure, listed Paul Molitor on their list of managers. And guess where he ended up?
Second to last.
Nope, number 30, the old bottom. I also have the under on that. I think he might be a little bit better, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wasn't super pumped about that.
About the hiring or the ranking?
The hiring.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because I don't think Gardy was the problem, but someone had to be the scapegoat to sell it to the fan base, even though the fan base, I think most of them knew that Gardy wasn't the main problem, but
Well, you have to change things up. I mean, you can't completely strip your roster. So, then what do you do?
It'd be nice.
And, well, it would be. It would be for this team. I wanted some fresh blood. I feel like Molitor was the safe hire.
How many teams' first baseman hit second in the order? Well, I know. Yeah, because first baseman is usually a power hitting position. 3, 4, 5, not 2. Anyways, that's just the usual venting, but I don't know. I'm still looking forward to it because that just means that it's going to be warm out.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what happened. Like, to Mauer, it's like he was hitting for power. He was, for average. He was, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
Do you buy the big conspiracy theory? And I don't want to even put it out there because it's almost borderline slanderous, but steroid era, got the big contract, numbers dipped, question mark.
Mauer? Really?
I mean, that can't all be milk. It can't all be dairy. I mean, that'd be a ton of farts.
He's like the total Boy Scout of the league. Like, he's so squeaky clean.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying those numbers had a big spike.
You're not saying, but you're saying.
Those numbers had a big spike before he got that big deal, and then...
I don't know.
One of my favorite jokes is saying, the Minnesota Twins, we have never used performance-enhancing drugs. And the fans coming back, you should reconsider.
That might help.
Speaking of help, let's get to some quick hits, and these are a couple of quick news stories, and I just want to get your thoughts real quick, and then we'll just move on. Just rolling through all of them. First one is, speaking of steroids, A-Rod, the apology, the handwritten note. What do you think?
Don't care. Too late. Cheater. Whatever.
A-Rod is so hilarious because He's like RG3 literally on steroids in that he does not get it. He has so little self-awareness. And
I'm so sorry. Please accept this, handwritten note that I jotted off because I'm hoping, to fire up my career again. And, he's not sorry.
And plus, if he comes back to the Yankees, where's he going to play? He's not going to DH. They spent a ton on Chase Headley to play third base. He's not going to play shortstop. Oh, my God. Could you imagine if A-Rod replaced Jeter? No.
No, not at all. Not even close.
The Yankees should just eat, I think it's $61 million, whatever is still owed to him, and just
wow, really?
move on.
That much?
Yeah.
You know what? But you know what? That's the Yankees. Screw them. I'm glad they're on the hook for that because they knew what they were getting into.
And speaking of steroids, people saying that, they paid such a high cost because these steroid guys aren't getting in the Hall of Fame. Well, they got a couple $100 million out of the deal, so you tell me. That's such a big deal.
Exactly.
Next up is the Combine is starting to get in full swing today. Interviews, and I think the tight ends and O-linemen are already coming in, and quarterbacks are arriving. Do you care?
Nope.
Oh, come on. It feels like football again.
You know what? I know we're all desperate for some football, but no, I don't give two shits because it's not real football. That's not they're never going to have those circumstances in a real game. And so when you evaluate a player based on the Combine or, their pro day, hey, Teddy Bridgewater. And by the way, I'm glad he sucked at his pro day because, we got him. He dropped from, first overall to last, drafted in the first round by the Vikings. It's just stupid. I don't know. I mean, I know people are desperate, but come on, man.
Well, have I ever told you my conspiracy theory about Teddy's pro day?
I don't believe you have.
All right, so Rick, you got Teddy on the phone, right? And he's like, all right, so Teddy, we're going to get you at the bottom of the first round, and it's because I know you don't want to go to the Browns, and they're going to take you, but you have to make your stock drop, dupe them into taking Manziel, and then we'll get you at the bottom of the first round. And here's what you do. You don't wear your gloves at your pro day, and then I'm going to leak out a story that says you got skinny knees. Rick, what is that? I don't know, but it'll make your stock drop because people can't explain it. But it sounds bad, so you're going to drop. And then, voila, we got Teddy.
That's
on the cheap.
That's like the worst conspiracy theory ever.
I would not put it past Rick Spielman because the man is a magician. The man is a Frank Underwood. The man is a Machiavelli. Behind the scenes, pulling the strings, he's the godfather. He's Rick Spielman. No,
the bottom line is that everybody put so much stock in his pro day. And it was like, nope, he doesn't have it. No, it's Johnny Manziel, blah, blah, blah. You know what? How do you think the Browns feel right about now?
Well, no, it was all about that Blake Bortles. I mean, everyone forgets about him. He went third.
Yeah, well, still.
And he broke up with his girlfriend, Lindsay Duke. How you doing?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, about that. But it does feel like it's almost getting to football time again because PA and Charge were down in Indianapolis. Spielman is talking to the media. Oh, speaking of which, PA had and Charge had Spielman on. And it's so funny. Charchian asked this 4-minute drawn-out question about the process, and then Rick just gave a pause and was like, yes.
God, I wish I would have heard that. That would have been awesome.
That's my favorite thing about Rick Spielman. He could talk for literally 5 hours and say absolutely nothing. And that's why I'm taking all of this support for Adrian with a grain of salt, because I'm still thinking he's pulling some strings to get a deal done. Jerry Jones, Oakland, somewhere. And I'm still all for that.
Oh, I am too. Great. Let's bring, they're going to franchise Dez in Dallas, and I don't really want any part of DeMarco Murray.
To be honest, I would be fine rolling with Asiata, McKinnon, and a possible rookie, or even Banyan. Running back's not that important anymore in the NFL.
No, it's not. And, that's something you can address in the draft because, they're cheap, they're well-rested, they're, have the mileage on their bodies. So yeah, I mean, I can see that, but
you're going to get me standing on the table for Jerick McKinnon again, because between the 20s, he would be an elite part of a running game. He averaged 4.8 yards per carry behind that decimated offensive line.
oh, I love him. I mean,
Decimated.
I would never argue against him, but can he stay healthy? That's the question.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I love him, literally love him.
My Twitter doctorate degree tells me that I'm not as worried about his back injury because it was training instead of a contact injury, but that might be completely obtuse as well. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah. Next up, we're not talking about Adrian. That was next on the talking point. But Rivals.com is starting to rank sixth graders. Is that too much?
My first thought was, this is completely ridiculous. And also, what the hell is wrong with people?
See, I thought this was a preemptive April Fool's story or maybe an Onion story, but apparently it's legit.
It is, and it's scary. I mean, you're talking 11-year-olds, 10, 11-year-olds.
My favorite thing is that one of the kids I looked up was listed as a pro-style quarterback. I mean, how can you even determine
what, really?
in Pop Warner if the kid's going to be a pro-style quarterback or spread option, pistol, whatever? You can't know that. Shut up, Rivals.
And that just yeah, I can't. I mean, I can't even as a parent. I'm like, really? You're going to do this to a 10 or 11-year-olds? Can you imagine what the parents are going to do?
I don't even like that they do it to high schoolers, to be honest, because, you got these kids as 4- and 5-star recruits, so they say, according to Rivals, and what's the other ranking site? It doesn't matter. And then they come into college, and maybe they're not suited for the college game, and they're a huge bust, and then they have to live with a rabid college football fan base saying that, oh, you suck. You came in as a 5-star recruit, and you didn't do anything for us. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And plus, they broke it down in the Super Bowl, and a lot of the guys who were starting were either 1- or 2-star recruits or not even ranked. Because I think Tom Brady was a 2-star recruit, and Russell Wilson was a 1, something like that.
Right, and I've seen similar stats, and right, I don't think the 5-star, 4-star. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, they're babies. I mean, you have no idea what they're going to be when they grow up.
You're going to get a 5-star 6th grade recruit bust by 9th grade just because he hit his growth spurt before everyone else. And he's going to have to live with that shame as third-string quarterback because I was a 5-star 6th grade recruit, and now I'm nothing. You want to go to prom with me?
Nice.
Smooth segue to Michael Jordan. Turned 52 on Tuesday. What has been Jordan's impact on your life, Di?
Not a lot, actually.
Now, as a kid of the 90s, he's had a huge impact on my life because I've owned several pairs of Jordans, and I loved all the Jordan gear growing up. Definitely scaled back as I've gotten an adult because, you kind of outgrow marketing. But growing up, he was the man. He was the guy. The Jordan 12s are the best ever, and if you disagree with me, I'll fight you on that. And I haven't even talked about him playing basketball yet. 6 rings, never got to a game 6 in any of the finals, and it's just redonkulous what he did.
Okay, well, I have never owned a pair of Jordans because I'm a girl.
It's the only shoe you haven't owned.
They're, they're kind of ugly, for girls. I respect the shoe game for guys. For me, I love him for Space Jam.
Yes, Space Jam.
That's what I love him for.
And
the tongue. Oh my God,
Mike.
the tongue, that sick, NBA All-Star dunk where he starts at the foul line and his tongue's hanging out and he slams it. That's what I love.
Oh my God! Plus the Jordan brand commercials, all of them are just epic and phenomenal. And plus to this day, I love Gatorade and Oscar Mayer hot dogs. I don't know why.
Just cause.
Do you remember Jordan on the Oscar Mayer so this always bothered me. On the Oscar Mayer hot dog commercial, he has this hot dog at the end, and his line is "Don't you love summer?" And then he takes a bite of the hot dog, and it's got mustard on it, except the bite he takes has no sauce on it. So there's only mustard on 2/3 of the hot dog, and he bites the third that doesn't have any. What kind of message is that to kids, MJ? What'd you ever do to French's, huh?
Mustard's gross.
You close down that possible. Well, he's from Chicago too.
I don't care. Mustard is
So
gross.
you have to embrace the mustard.
No, mustard's icky.
On the hot dog.
I hate mustard.
Fine, but he shut that door. You ain't getting a French's sponsorship now. Actually, he probably still would.
Because I'm pretty sure he is hurting for sponsors.
Can't sell mustard.
Oh, I bet he could.
Fine. And wrapping up, just a little bit of a pat on the back, segment 2, Miracle of Minneapolis, and an article in The Atlantic, which is like a real publication, not like People Magazine, by a gentleman named Derek Thompson. And the byline is, "No other place mixed affordability, opportunity, and wealth so well. What's its secret?" And some of the highlights of the article point out strong middle class, affordable housing, ample career opportunities. MSP features 19 Fortune 500 companies, tax distribution policies, and one thing I didn't think of, land. Like, there's a ton of land around the Twin Cities that eastern cities pressed up against the ocean and western cities against the other ocean don't have. They don't have that. So what do you think, Di? MSP is the place to be.
You know what? I actually thought the article was well written. I mean, I think it actually took a look at what the Twin Cities have to offer. Yeah, the weather sometimes sucks, like today when it's like really cold.
Not when you're inside.
Well, fair enough, Andy.
Yep.
But, you know, I think that, I mean, education is fantastic. The job market is fantastic. Affordability, I mean, yeah, the taxes are a little high, but when you compare it to some other big cities, not so bad. I thought it was really well written.
It did seem like an advertisement by the Minneapolis Economic Board, but I can see what they're saying here because the wife and I, we're looking to buy a house in the cities as well, and compared to the national average in the suburbs, it's extremely affordable. And we got a ton of friends that live up there, and it seems like the cost of not even just living, but having a very nice life is very affordable, even for young adults and young couples in the Twin Cities.
Well, and, you take a look at, the roads are always nice. I mean, you have to look at the whole picture. It's, the weather in the winter kind of sucks, but the other 3 seasons are fantastic.
The roads, that's kind of a bone of contention because, we did have a interstate bridge collapse a couple years ago.
Yes, this is true.
You can't laugh at that, Di.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm very morose. It's very horrible. But yes, that happened. And
overall, I think statewide the roads kind of suck. But in the cities, it's not bad. You just have a couple of bad drivers, except they all have Wisconsin plates.
Yes, they all do. Or Iowa.
There you go. And I'm still completely blown away by something I didn't think of, the whole land issue, because there is hundreds of miles in every direction around the Twin Cities because, well, until you hit the Mississippi River. But back in the day, cities like Farmington and Lakeville and even like White Bear Lake used to be standalone cities, but now they're suburbs, just because of urban sprawl. And then I think eventually, places like Northfield and Forest Lake and Otsego will be suburbs too.
Well, yeah, I mean, you take a look at what happened to Maple Grove. I mean, Maple Grove is huge. There's everything there. You don't even have to leave Maple Grove if you live in Maple Grove because everything is there.
Mm-hmm. Is that where you're moving to?
No. We're moving to Southwest Minneapolis.
Oh, there you go. You're going to be in the hood up to no good.
Pretty much.
It's not bad. But Minneapolis, great place to live. Kitschy, cosmopolitan, not really dirty, and wait till you see how it gets cleaned up for the Super Bowl because all the homeless people are going to be kicked out and shipped to Detroit.
Yes. Yes, they are.
And I wonder why the Minneapolis Tourism Board hasn't hired me yet. Oh,
I don't know.
Before we go to break, one person who they should hire is Greg Lewis.
Why is that?
Greg Lewis welcomes you to Minnesota. Wordplay. Come on.
Nice.
Fine. I'll try and press Di in the third segment. We'll talk SNL and cast Minnesota Sports the movie when we come right back. Andy must die.
Hello?
For daily conversations with the players, coaches, and contributors that make this game great.
Regulators, mount up. We're coming.
Football Convos. Visit footballconvos.com or visit us at iTunes.
And back for the third and final period, minus overtime of Andy Must Die, episode 2. It's going a lot better. This time, no technical errors, and you're not falling asleep. You're not like, hey, let's talk about sports, like last week.
I'm sorry. That's like, nighttime cold medicine issues.
It was kind of like Barfly Die. Oh, was that your nickname back in the day?
No.
Damn it.
I will never tell you my nickname back in the day. Ever.
Was it Goober?
No.
Big Red?
Nope.
Fine. Although Barfly Die or Bar Time Die? It's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. Fine. Speaking of something that wasn't SNL 40 aired Sunday in a big celebration. 3.5 hours worth of just old SNL people, celebrities, hosts coming back, and it was awesome. I'm a big SNL supporter, borderline apologist, because I feel like a lot of people are very jaded now. I'd be like, SNL 40 hasn't been funny for 20 years. Well, shut up. Don't watch then. But I watch. I love it. And it's been something that's, as a young person who's almost 30, I've definitely grown through it. Like, I first started watching, like, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Chris Rock, those sort of years, even though they didn't use Chris Rock all that well. And eventually it progressed through Will Ferrell, Jimmy Fallon, and the cast today, which I love the cast that's on there. A.D. Bryant, Kate McKinnon, who's just as good as Jarek McKinnon, Kenan Thompson. I love those guys. And it's one of those shows that just transcends generation, and Di, you're a big fan of it as well.
Oh, I love it. And I didn't... Whoop, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, getting a little closer. I didn't watch the whole, 40th anniversary thing. We recorded it and watched Downton Abbey instead. But yeah, I love it. I've loved it. I mean, there have been shows that are like, but like, it's, how can you not love it? Like, in some cases it's brilliant. In some cases it's but for the most part, it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Plus, my favorite part is Weekend Update. I feel
that's my favorite. Yay!
Colin Jost he started out a little rocky with Cecily, but he's really coming to his own. And Michael Che is freaking hilarious. He used to be on the Daily Show. Loved him on there, and now he's moved over to SNL. the whole your mama jokes are just phenomenal, and I don't care. I will fight till the day I die that SNL is very funny and very watchable, because I wasn't really a social butterfly in like high school, so I watched a lot of SNL on Saturday nights. And now that I'm an old man and going to have a child, I'm definitely going to be watching SNL on Saturday nights. So hopefully it stays on through SNL 140, and hopefully I live along too.
Nice. I love Weekend Update, and I really, 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 really miss Seth and Amy. I mean, like, they were like...
Really?
Really? Oh my God, they were the best.
Oh, no, sorry, that was the bit. Really?
Okay.
Really with Seth?
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Really? Yeah. No, that's great. But, the younger crowd is bringing it. I mean, I think I'm still loving it. And, those are some tough shoes to fill.
Yep, absolutely. Speaking of tough shoes to fill, we need to fill out our roles, because it's a big deal. Everyone and their mother with handy cams nowadays and Kickstarter can get a movie going. And that's exactly what we're going to do in Minnesota Sports, the movie. And now I have a list, and Di has a list of characters. Di, I'm going to let you go first. And then if we each picked our own Minnesota sports personalities and media athletes to cast. So if we cross over on your list, I'll read mine as well. So say you picked Mike Yo, you can read yours, then I'll read mine, and stuff like that. And I know it's going to be a small budget movie, but I want to keep the names relatively well known so people in their mind's eye can get picture who we're talking about. So I'm pretty excited about this. Di, are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty geeked out about it, actually. I'm all fired up.
Because that is one of my favorite party or social gathering questions. Like, who would play you in a movie? Because it's something that everyone can get into unless they're like complete hipsters. Like, oh, I don't watch movies. I watch films. Well, yeah, screw you too, guy. Who would play you? Oh,
all right. So
Wes Anderson movie. Fine.
So who would play you, Andy?
Well, see, I'm kind of pigeonholed being an Asian American, so it's either got to be John Cho or Glenn from The Walking Dead. That's basically
it. Fair enough.
That's about it.
If I were to pick my actress to play me, I would say Christina Hendricks.
Because of her Golden Globes?
And red hair.
Fine. Even though you said you're not a natural redhead, is that true?
I am not a natural redhead, no.
Well, who would actually dye their hair red?
Me.
I mean, look at Max Williams. Do you think he wants to be a redhead?
But I'm not a redhead like that. I'm like a burgundy, like cool redhead, not like weird, I don't know, like orangey redhead. That's not me.
It always devolves into Adrian or Ginger talk whenever I'm speaking. But anyways, let's get to the movie list. So, Di, we'll start with your list. If we have some crossover, I'll read off mine. Let's hit it.
All right. I have Mark Rosen.
Yes, Rosie.
I cast Harrison Ford as Mark Rosen.
Harrison Ford. That's not. I feel like Harrison would be a little bit too serious for Rosie. I picked Alan Alda. You know the guy from MASH?
Well, I'm aware of who Alan Alda is.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know.
For me, it was like, I mean, Harrison can do lots of different stuff, and he is always well dressed, and Rosie's always well dressed. So that was my thing.
I don't think either of them are 6'10", though.
Probably not.
All right.
He is a very tall man.
All right, who we got next?
Dave Schwartz from Care 11.
Oh yeah.
I cast Nathan Fillion as Dave Schwartz.
Now, say I'm someone who doesn't know who Nathan Fillion is. Who is Nathan Fillion?
He's the lead actor for the show Castle.
Oh, so the guy from Firefly and
yes, the guy from Firefly, exactly.
Also, the guy from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Anyways, I have a thing with faces. It's very weird because the wife actually finds it a little annoying that we'll be watching a movie or a TV show and be like, "Oh, that person was such and such and such and such and such and such."
Does she just like slap you then, or what?
No, not really. Actually, she kind of finds it quasi amusing and then quasi annoying because I'm just talking throughout a movie. Did you know that guy was in episode blah of Disney Channel iCarly? I watch way too much iCarly.
You married well. I'm just going to say.
All right. I did not have Dave Schwartz, so who else you got on your list?
Sid Hartman.
Sid, the kid.
I said no one is old enough to play Sid Hartman.
I actually cast Michael Caine as Sid.
Yeah, but he's like, he's still got it together up there. I think that's not a good comparison.
Well, Sid still has it together on his columns that are ghostwritten.
Fair enough.
That's speculation.
I'll give you that.
That's all speculation. Shame on me. You got to respect the game. Anyways, who else you
got? Mike Zimmer.
Zim.
Liam Neeson.
Oh, I like Liam Neeson. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. See, for me, Zimmer, I got Michael Rooker, who is Merle from The Walking Dead.
I don't watch that show. I have no idea who that is.
Now, people who watch The Walking Dead will probably understand because also the voice. If you close your eyes and heard Zimmer talk or Merle talk, it's indistinguishable. They're voice doppelgangers.
Yeah, but Liam Neeson is so badass. Like he has no F's to give, and that's Zimmer.
So I feel like he's played the same role in every single movie ever since was it A-Team? Or Batman Begins.
He was never an A-Team.
The A-Team. The movie.
He wasn't in that.
Yeah, it was. He was Hannibal.
Really?
Yeah, and with gosh, who else? Bradley Cooper was
Yeah,
Face.
that's terrible. He should have never starred in that movie. That's like bad.
That's a sneaky good movie. I'm not gonna lie. I will defend that movie because it's highly entertaining.
God, I can't even believe he was actually in that movie.
Anyway, so who you got next?
Mike Yo.
Yo.
You can go first this time.
I got Bruce Willis.
I went with Jason Statham.
Oh, there you go. See, yeah, I thought my pick was a little bit too old, but I like the Statham pick. Both bald guys, maybe throw a dip in Statham's mouth and put some glasses on him. There you go.
I'm pretty sure he could, kick some ass. So, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and Statham could probably throw a great practice hissy fit, too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he could throw a great practice hissy fit.
Next.
All right, so Coach Cheryl Reeve of the Minnesota Lynx.
The 3-time champion Minnesota Lynx. Or is it 2-time?
They didn't win last year. I think it's 2 in a row. But still, like they won championships like no other men's team have done here.
Cheryl Reeve.
For a long time. I'm going with Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall of Sex and the City fame. I like it. I skewed a little younger for Cheryl Reeve. I went Julie Bowen from Modern Family.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Also, except with the haircut she had in Happy Gilmore, because I feel like that's more Cheryl Reeve style.
Well, and, Kim Cattrall's kind of badass. So that was kind of Cheryl Reeve's kind of badass. I mean, I saw Jim Pete have to hold her back, when she was like throwing she took off her jacket and like threw it and like it was all tough and stuff like a couple years ago during the playoffs. Yeah, I like her a lot.
There you go. And Kim Cattrall is the cougar that you aspire to be, correct?
No.
Fine.
I don't aspire to be a cougar. Like what? But okay, can we just like for once and for all like define what is a cougar?
An older woman who has the opportunity to prey on young men, or doesn't have to.
Well, I mean, that's my thing.
She has the capability.
If someone says you're a cougar, I'm like, I don't hit on younger men. I don't. That's not my thing. But they're like, you're still a cougar. Well,
I feel like a cougar could be both ways too, and that younger men could find the older woman attractive.
Fair enough.
Boom.
Done.
Cougar. All right, what you got next?
Jerry Kill.
Yes.
The gopher from Caddyshack.
Oh, that's so lame. We can't afford him.
Sorry, I just couldn't. It was like he looked like a gopher. Like he totally looks like a gopher. He can never go coach anywhere else because he totally fits in with the U because he's a gopher.
We can't afford that gopher.
What do you got?
For Kill, I got Michael Chiklis. From The Shield, Commish.
Yeah, no, I know
Sons
who
of
he
Anarchy.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, all my picks skew a little bit younger, a little bit sexier. Oh, except for the Bruce Willis Yo pick. I'm trying to.
That wasn't. The Statham was much younger and sexier.
Trying to flatter some people here. All right, who we got next?
That's all I got. What do you got?
Ooh, all right. So I got a ton. All right. So sticking with coaches, Paul Molitor. I got Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Well, you know what? Maybe. God, what is his name? I seriously can't even. Yeah.
That guy with the place and the thing.
That guy with the Field of Dreams.
James Earl Jones.
Really?
Kevin Costner.
Yes, Kevin Costner. I would do Kevin Costner.
I think Bob Odenkirk would be funny. We could probably afford him more too. And also, I caught myself. I just did the Cosby voice, and that's too soon. That's too soon.
That's a little too soon.
Richard Pitino, I did not cast because he'll be gone next year anyways.
Really?
I'm just kidding. I cast Adam Scott from Parks and Rec.
That's not bad, actually. That's not bad.
But yeah, he'll be gone. He'll find a better job, but we'll see.
No. God, why is that? Why do people do that? It's like, I was talking to Ted, at Purple Buckeye about because he's not a big NBA guy, but I'm like talking about how excited I was about Levine and Wiggins. He's like, yeah, you know what? In a couple years, they'll all be playing for, the Lakers and the Heat. I'm like, really? Why do we have to do that to ourselves?
Well, Minnesota for basketball, not really a destination place yet.
But it can be.
It can be, and then we'll go to the Final Four and get it taken away. But it still
Damn
counts.
you.
Bobby Jackson's socks and Miles Tarver's mustache will always have that.
Nice.
And Sam Jacobson and Quincy Carter just jacking threes from all over the place because they don't give an F.
Yeah, my sister went to school with Sam Jacobson. Screw him.
Then Courtney James gets arrested. Actually, I shouldn't put that out there because I think he might have, but I don't know for sure. Anyways, back to the list. Don Lucia, Gophers men's hockey coach. Younger Alec Baldwin.
Ooh, I like that because he's hot.
He is kind of a good-looking man. Now,
he's a very good-looking man.
I've been trying to establish, is Don Lucia and Ali Lucia at WCCO Sports, are they related at all?
Yeah, it's his daughter.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it?
He is.
Oh.
Yep, she is. Yeah, and he has a couple boys that play hockey. So, well, I shouldn't say boys, but men that play hockey.
Well, there you go. I should probably do more in-depth research.
Yeah, that's his daughter. And he's a good-looking man. I remember standing there, like, at my first press conference, and I was, like, recording him talking, and I'm like, he's so pretty. Like, he's so pretty. Like, he's a good-looking man.
Someone else who's a good-looking man, maybe in a non-traditional sense, Flip Saunders, Henry Winkler.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I'll give you that. That's not bad.
All right,
that's very flattering for Flip, but yeah.
Moving over to the media side, Common, Dan Cole, Pride of Woodbury. I got Gilbert Gottfried.
I don't even know what he looks like. Like, I've never seen him in person. So,
really? Well, you guys used to be neighbors, didn't you?
Well, not like neighbors,
in
but
the
yes.
Woodbury Hood.
Yes. Right. All right, who you got for Barrero? I know you got somebody for Barrero.
For Barrero, I got Larry David. Except he's going to have to shave the sides because there are too many bald individuals, like completely shaven, like Chrome Dome in Minnesota sports media and coaches. I mean, Kill, Yo, Barrero. I'm missing some other bald people, but I know they're there.
There's lots of bald people there.
Yep. Now, the rest I kind of had to pick and choose. Master, I got Derek Luke, the guy who played Boob to Miles in Friday Night Lights.
No idea. Never watched the show, ever.
No, the movie.
Never saw the movie.
It's a good comparison. Derek Luke's a good-looking dude. So there you go, Master.
But how is his shoe game? Because Master's, sneaker game is spot on.
I don't know. I'm sure Derek Luke can afford it. But we'll
okay.
See. All right. Judd Zulgad, Colin Quinn from SNL, obviously.
Nice.
Dead
That's
ringer. Not even close. Just completely separated at birth. Like, honestly,
but,
have they ever been in the same place? What? Huh? Big question.
But, I think Colin is probably much more witty. Just saying.
Phil Mackey.
If you're just going for looks, then yes.
Phil Mackey. This one's a little bit of a deep one, but Dominic Monaghan.
Oh, I know who that is.
No way.
Yeah, that's like, wasn't he a Hobbit?
It was not because of the Hobbit angle. I do not think Phil looks like a Hobbit.
But he was a Hobbit, right?
Technically, yes.
Yes, and he was on Lost.
He was on Lost. He was on the show Flash Forward, I believe. Yes, but for the record, I don't think Phil looks like a Hobbit. That was not the angle. He kind of looks like Dominic Monaghan, though.
I think that's good.
There you go. PA, I got George Clooney, obviously.
What? Are you high?
Salt and pepper.
No. Awful.
Yeah,
terrible.
Push it really good.
No. George Clooney is gorgeous and sexy, and PA is the exact opposite of gorgeous and sexy.
You don't even know what's good looking nowadays, Di.
Oh, really?
You said you're out of the game.
Well, I'm married. I'm not dead.
All right, fine. Next, our favorite guy. That's Strib. Howard Sinker. Sean Connery.
Oh, wow. and I know this is a little, kind of out of the box, but for the voice and the wisdom, I'm going Morgan Freeman.
That would be a outside the box decision casting.
I know, but yes, like that's him. He's the voice and the wisdom, and yeah, Morgan Freeman.
All right, there we go. All right, so I got to turbo through some of these because you got to get going, Die, but we'll squeeze all this in. Jill Hammy, who is the 93X and new Sunday contributor at 105.5 The Ticket, a brunette Kate Upton.
Wow. You know what? She's better than that. I'm going to give her, who am I going to give her? Because Kate Upton is so mindless.
Going off pure looks.
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. We'll go with that too.
There we go.
Got a big crush on Anna Kendrick. Athletes. Or
Okay.
quasi-athlete related. But it's kind of tough to cast these because there's not too many 6'5", 250-pound actors. But Harrison Smith, Channing Tatum.
Ooh, yes. I likey.
Zach Parisi, Zac Efron.
No.
Zac Efron's pretty jacked. Now, I'm not talking about High School Musical
he
Zac
is,
Efron.
but yeah.
Talking about Neighbors Zac Efron.
Okay.
Andrew Wiggins is just the smiley emoticon.
Okay. I'll go with that.
Ziggy Wilf is Snidely Whiplash from like the old timey cartoons.
Wow, I totally know who that is.
Tying
yes.
the damsel to the train tracks because you can't just put a bullet in her head. No, you got to make it all.
And Dudley Do Right will come along and save her.
Yeah,
So
that's too morbid. So, anyways, Joe Mauer, last one. Samuel L. Jackson's character from Unbreakable.
I never saw that movie.
It's ironic because he always breaks.
Well, then you win.
People who've seen the movie will get that.
You win.
All right, turboing through the last segment, we got a couple of questions through our Ask AMD. There, I wanted to go AMD bag, except Die vetoed it.
I did.
I thought that would be witty. But we got.
I was trying to class it up a little bit, Andy.
Hashtag Ask AMD, which is an old hashtag from AMD Athlon processors, except they haven't used it from June, so we got squatters' rights. So if you want your questions or comments read on the podcast, put them in. Add us at Andy Must Die or hashtag Ask AMD. So we got two of these. The first one is from Rob, 21. The T-Wolves and Vikes have a lot of talented young players. Will they be playoff teams next year, 2 years more? ? Die. What you think?
I'm sorry, I was distracted by the sick child. What was the question?
Vikings, Wolves, playoffs team next year, 2 years longer, what?
Vikings. Next year. Book it.
What about the Wolves?
I'm going to give them 2 years, then book it.
I'm going to give the Wolves 3 because the West is still pretty stacked. Wait till San
I
Antonio
know,
dies
like
off.
if they were in the East, it would be so easy, but yeah, they're in the West. But I'm still saying 2.
And I'm saying Vikings next year too. Not wild card. Division. Bring it. And the last one is from Scatonato. I only got the usernames on here. I didn't get the actual names. But anyways, does Andy's wife really let him have those Anna Kendrick posters on his wall like he's a teenage boy asking for a friend? The answer is yes, except technically not walls. Ceiling. Ceiling is
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even put my Channing Tatum posters on the ceiling. The hubby doesn't allow that.
See,
So
I
good for
want to
you.
know where Kyle is. Is Kyle like under arrest because we gave him a softball and then
And nothing. Like nothing. We got nothing.
Maybe he's
from Kyle.
gator hunting or
Who knows?
what are those big boats with the fans on them? Oh, fan boat? Is that what they're called?
I have no idea. Like, do you have any? Like, I would have any idea.
In the Florida Everglades? Well, you're from the Everglades, aren't you?
No. I was born and raised in Minnesota. This is like was born, I live, and I will die here probably, except for 3 months out of the year when I go somewhere warmer.
Are you gonna be a snowbird? You're gonna go down to like Scottsdale?
No,
You're gonna go
I
to
can't.
Florida.
Well, I don't know yet because the husband can't live in Arizona because it's like too hot. So we have to find something, kind of in between.
Mm-hmm. And I've been getting texts throughout the show. Apparently, one of my wife's coworkers got asked out via fax.
What?
I don't know.
Seriously, I would be like, no.
I just want to end on a random story. All right, that's it for episode 2. How'd you think it went, Di?
I thought it was fantastical.
It's nice to have you awake.
Yes, and I am awake, and I have a fantastic new hairdo. So yeah,
Fantastic
awesome.
New hairdo. A pic will be up on the post. I promise you that. We'll steal one from Di. Also a picture of the new hat. And we're out of here. Follow us on Twitter at Andy Must Die. Send in your questions and comments. Hashtag AskAMD. AndyMustDie.com. We got a new blog up there, and I promise I will poke and prod Di to get something up there because you want to know what's going on in the head of Di throughout the week from her own fingertips. Might be a little R-rated. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But we are gone. I'm Andy Carlson.
And I am Di Murphy.
Yes. Yeah, we're setting that up like the weekend news crew. Have a great week and get off my lawn.
Thanks for listening to Andy Must Die. For more info, check out andymustdie.com, subscribe and rate them on iTunes, and follow on Twitter at Andy Must Die.
We needed to get this right.
The music was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, check out soundcloud.com/Deeb.
We needed to get this right.